Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Hope you folks are all having a good start of the day. My name is Cedric. I'm gonna get us started here. So for those folks who haven't had a chance to meet me in the past, I am leading the product management team for AEM Sites and Screens, and certainly also a bit on commerce. So maybe about this a little bit later in the day. Yeah, so first of all, I wanted to say hello. Thank you for joining. Like, it's been a while that we had a chance to, kind of talk to you folks. And we're thinking, hey, how cool would kind of get together for, I don't know, half a day or so and give you folks an update on what we've been doing. There's a lot of things that obviously on the headless front, which is the topic of today, that we've been investing. So I felt like that's a good thing. So yeah, so let's talk actually a little bit about you folks first. So yeah, you folks been busy and using AI for that. So that's why we want to use this keynote actually today to do two things. So first, give you just a little bit of a lay of the land of how we see things, and number two, we want to make sure give you kind of a glimpse on one of the things that we're working on. So I think that's going to be really exciting. Actually, throughout the whole day, and we are going to go through the individual features and capabilities. So I think that's good. So hope you folks have more time today to hang on and stay beyond the keynote. Good. But let's talk about some of the numbers that I just brought up. And let's see. So how to read the chart. Number one, the first one is if you think of cloud service, it's been around for, so we got a sizable amount of you folks running on, which is awesome. So when you look at just in October of how much email we deliver, which is kind of web pages, right? And then how much JSON we deliver as in sense of API-based content or content in a either probably structured way, right? You see that we actually we deliver more in you're thinking is JSON format, structured format, than actually the finished HTML, which is the observation. I think we talked about that maybe in the past already a little bit. Yeah, but it's interesting that the reason why this is interesting is what do we as a company do want to put our focus on, right? We constantly obviously reevaluate our priorities. We deliver value to you folks. Where could we deliver capabilities that helps you, get more value out of your existing AEM or and using starting to use AEM, how to do that. So, that is an interesting number for us because that feels like, well, there's certainty and clear for making sure that content that is either already in AEM or you're planning to put into AEM, that can be surfaced in a technical or let's say JSON format as a representation for just API access to the content in order to whatever you feel like is the right place to use. So I think that's an interesting number for us. And given that there's numbers going up, we also see certainly from our end that we invest in that. So hence, we're all here today, right? Because we want to talk about that. So number two is, okay, how are you really want to that content? What's kind of, what's the serialization, if you think of the technical term, of how that content should be serialized? So it's interesting. A little bit more than a year ago, and it's been skyrocketing. You guys been phenomenal. It's amazing. We've blown away. What's happening here? we knew you asked this before. Hey, GraphQL support. Hey, when is it coming? We knew that need there, and that you folks want to use that. But honestly, we've been blown away. So it's amazing. So I mean, the green part is GraphQL as a format. Important. We distinguish between GraphQL as a format and GraphQL as a protocol. So talking about GraphQL as a format, so that the ability for you to really having a chance to the ability for you to prepare a GraphQL format that you want and then deliver that through AEM, right? Content services is what we actually had before, which is the model.json where you do that. And servlets is folks that have written, which there's actually quite a fair bit. And that's more like you see a little bit of the history. Folks have moved over to cloud service, have moved their existing code to cloud service. So you see that a little bit in the number. So I think that's an interesting representation here. So you're going to see us double down on GraphQL, kind of obvious. So the other aspect is if you look at, okay, we deliver a lot of content, but right? So what are there? How's that looking like? And it's like I got two numbers for you. One other thing that happened is really this content fragments or structured content. We sometimes now refer to as just as managing structured content. Also has significant growth. If you see over year, we do track through telemetry data of how much these capabilities, the usage of content fragments has skyrocketed too, and we now managing up to like 500,000 content fragments with memory, which is a sizable amount. And I think that's truly an interesting thing. So I hear there's some folks that have issues with in the chat next to me here. I am not sure if there's anything I can do about it on my end, which is obviously very unfortunate. I'm sure you folks hear me. Yeah, I think I much I can do. It's just going to continue. The other aspect of numbers that we're seeing is just the folks, the amount of folks that are actually using our user interface or folks that are editing our content. And again, these are all cloud service numbers. We got around like 40,000 days. They're using our editing tools on a monthly basis, so that's just a sizable. So that's another indicator for us to really think of, okay, how focus or what do we need to focus on to invest in our user interfaces to make them easier to use. Let's look a little bit about AEM today, or think about AEM today. How does it, look like? So number one, and we haven't visited AEM in that way, like if you see the graph. So let me walk you through. And it's trying to represent of how we look at AEM today, right? So on one hand, there's, again, if you look from the top, we got your existing infrastructure, which is CDNs and DNS and infrastructure that we fit in, right? And then we see us as different delivery tiers that we have. We have one hand, we consider ourselves as user. On the other hand, we have the headless delivery, which is so we talked about GraphQL just now, and we have media delivery, which is images and video delivery, right? So as kind of delivery stacks, and that's kind of the other aspect of it is the tools we have to author content. So we have structured content, we have tools to manage structured content, and we have tools to manage images and video front-end code. So it's also a way to kind of how we feel like we organize our tools. And then we have then author and publish services, contain those, and they're running on a serverless / container-based runtime, particularly for cloud service, right? I wanted to kind of show that a little bit how we think, and the biggest change is really for us how we think about the different delivery stacks and how we want to keep developing those. So what are we innovating on the full stack delivery? What are we innovating on the headless delivery? And what are we innovating in media delivery? So we can talk about. Good. So having said that, let's dig a little bit deeper into the headless capabilities. And so if you just summarize the headless stack, you got the actual app, you get APIs, you get structured content. So how does AEM fit into that? Not a lot of folks are like, oh yeah, AEM is kind of like a CMS that does everything. I think that's a, and we would certainly like to be seen as that. But it's also interesting that we want to be the CMS that we want to be the CMS that is also seen as a headless CMS that has all the capabilities that you would expect from a headless CMS or a decoupled CMS even. So I think there's a fair bit of features that are, again, today around. We're going to talk about some of those that are coming in. And yeah, so we're investing in authoring tools. We're going to talk about it later today. And then I'm going to focus on the new area. We're going to bring in eventing, which is some capabilities that today, there's some solutions for it, but you're going to see us delivering a really, really awesome way to kind of interact with AEM through remote eventing. One is our APIs that our UI is using today. Like if you use our UIs, they always use an API, but our API is probably that. So that's one of the other things that we're going to do. We're going to bring out a new management API. If you think of back office API, that is publicly documented and stable. So I think that's great. And then the other one is extensibility. Extensibility is go into AEM, you change your code to make changes the way a product works. So we're also going to change that. And by having external, or sometimes used also the term used, out of process extensibility, so the ability for the extend our product to not run within AEM, but outside of AEM and interacting with AEM. So we're going to have sessions on that later today. It's going to be pretty exciting. So these three new areas we're certainly going to focus on today. And I think the last one is certainly how do we bring editing, in-context editing, any experience that is built with web technology. We're also going to talk about that. So having said that, I think that was a quick, I felt like what will be cool, actually, instead of showing more slides, well, we're going to bring on Michael and through some of those capabilities, and we're going to see them in action. All right.
All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm super happy to be here. My name is Michael. I'm Cedric's partner in crime on the engineering side, running engineering for AEM Sites. And today, what I would like to give to you is an overview over what our engineering teams have been cooking up, the innovation that's coming for AEM Headless. So let's dive right in, shall we? Let me start with the practitioner view on content management in AEM Headless. And as Cedric mentioned, we have customers that manage very large amounts of content. So there's customers that have over 500,000 of content fragments that they store and manage in AEM. So looking at the scale of such customers, what we did was really take a step back and completely reimagine and rethink the way content fragments should be edited in AEM. And our guiding principle was to really optimize for practitioner workflows for efficiency and to help our practitioners to get the job done as quickly as possible. For that, we've looked at our content fragment management UIs like the admin and the editor, and completely re-implemented those UIs as single-page applications that use the same APIs behind the scenes as will be made available to you. So let me give you a demo of what that actually looks like. What we're looking at here is the content fragment admin, and what you see, of course, immediately is that the content fragments are displayed as a table in a table view, and you can personalize that table with using the columns, whatever makes sense for your workflows. On the left-hand side, you see the folder structure that allows you to drill down into specific parts of the content fragments, and the table view will adjust accordingly. Of course, you can sort as needed, and more importantly, you can actually filter those content fragments depending on the status, like modified or draft, and save those filter statuses to be readily available in a way that makes sense for you for your custom workflows. Next, the search field. You see the recent content fragments here in the dropdown. You see the recent saved searches, and of course, everything is full text driven. So within that folder, the folder structure you're in, you're able to very quickly get to the content fragments that matter to you. Next, content fragments don't live in a vacuum. They're referenced by other content fragments, and they have translations. So being able to very quickly see what translations are available for a given fragment, or what references to other fragments are there right from that table view was super important for us. Of course, you can, from this view, immediately create new content fragments. You get a drop-down with autocomplete to give you access to the right content fragment model immediately. This is all very streamlined, and there, boom, you have your new content fragment. Obviously, publishing right from here is a part of the new UI. I want to point out that the UI, that pop-up, gives you information of other content fragments that are referenced, and gives you the option to also publish those other content fragments. So as you can see, very quick, very easy to use and optimize for really large-scale content management. Now, what happens if you want to edit one particular content fragment here? Let's go to our new editor view. Again, completely reimagined. On the left-hand side, you see a pane that allows the practitioner to navigate very quickly to a particular field. And of course, that's all autosave. So if you change something here, it's going to be saved right away. No more need for the save button. Let's add an asset. The new asset picker, it's all search driven again. So you can very quickly drill down to the assets that you want to associate with a particular content fragment. Very important part as well, the rich text editor, completely redone. And in there, you get all the features that you expect from a rich text editor, like alignment, list views, etc. And of course, bold colors, everything you would expect. While I added some content here in this rich text, I want to remind you that we have the capability of having different variations for a given content fragment. So right here on the upper right, we can switch to a different variation, which is set up for mobile. In a mobile view, you might want to have a shorter or a different text here, and that is all right there to be able to quickly switch back and forth. Again, publish the content fragment from right here, and you'll see also in that UI when that content fragment was last published. All right, so that is the new UI for practitioners, but this is a developer conference. So, and developers are obviously very, very important to be successful in headless projects. So what are we doing to make your life easier and to make you more efficient when it comes to AM headless? What I want to start with is talk about the new APIs, SDKs, and events that we're making available to you to build applications using AM headless. On the API side, we're on the API side for content management. We're banking heavily on Open API, the Open API standard, to make available to you APIs for CRUD operations, for content fragments, content fragment models, etc. On the delivery side, it's, as we shall see, continues to be GraphQL that we heavily bank on. All these APIs are made available as SDKs, so you can very quickly use those APIs without having to know all the intricacies. They're just made available to you in a programmatic way, as we shall see in a second. And last but not least, we'll provide to you the ability to register event listeners. So if something happens on the content management system in AEM, like a content fragment was added, created, deleted, you will be able to get a notification to have an application that reacts to those changes. Now, starting with the content fragment APIs. What we're looking at here is the upcoming API to manage content fragment models. And as you can see, this is all being brought to you in an open API or Swagger playground. And that playground allows you to not just easily browse those APIs and understand them from there, but also, of course, as you can see here, try it out right on the playground, have the playground submit those API requests, and you can see the results, see how the system behaves. It gives you curl requests, everything, all the goodness that you expect from open API-based tooling. As mentioned, those APIs are wrapped in SDKs. So what we're looking at here is a small Node.js application that requires the headless CRUD SDK. So you get an SDK client. And just by requiring that SDK and putting that into an IDE, like here, VS Code, what you get is, of course, auto-completion. You don't have to know all the available methods. You just see a list here, and you get code completion, etc., all the goodness in a modern API. And that also relieves you from having to know all the intricacies of the API, like how to authenticate, etc. Moving on to events. What we're looking at here is the Adobe Developer Console. And this is where you start to register new event listeners. So what you're going to do here is you register an event listener to something that your application is interested in, like creation of a content fragment, deletion of a content fragment, whatever is relevant to your application. Now, once you've done that, what you get is a delivery, various options to deliver these notifications to your application. First of all, there's a webhook. So if you run a web server, we will send you an HTTP request that notifies your web server of that change, and you can have code running on your own web server to deal with that change. There's also the possibility to use a journal of events, and that kind of reverses the method of communication. Rather than us pushing the notification to you, you will reach out to us and read the journal. So for example, in situations where your program is running behind a corporate firewall, this reversal might be really beneficial for you to actually be able to get to those events. Last but not least, is also the capability to run a serverless function when an event happens, and that's wired right in via the IO runtime serverless platform. So all you have to do there is to upload a IO runtime function, which is basically a Node.js function, and that function will be triggered whenever some event of interest for you occurs. The good thing is, in such scenarios, you don't have to run any infrastructure on your own. It's all being taken care of. All you have to do is provide the code. And last thing I want to point out in the Developer Console is that what we learned dealing with evented systems is that it sometimes can be hard to understand what's going on when you're in production. So within the console, you have access to all the events that were fired and all the details, like the request headers, the payloads, etc., to make it really easy for you and understandable what happened and what's going on in your system and with your events. Moving on to delivery APIs. We have been shipping the GraphQL Explorer for quite a while within AEM. So if you haven't seen that, I recommend you to check that out. And GraphQL Explorer is great because it inspects the available models and allows you to graphically browse those models and the fields therein. And because of that, it also gives you code completion when you write your own queries at development time. So as you can see here, there's code completion, and of course you can run those queries right from within the tool. So as expected, you get some JSON that you can see right here. What I really want to point out, though, is this is great for development. When you go to production, though, we really recommend to save those queries as persistent queries, which can then be cached on the CDN. So when your app goes viral and you really need to make sure that the backend is stable and your queries are served in a very stable manner, in a robust manner,
save them and publish them as persistent queries. And right within this tool, you are able to modify and control the caching behavior of those query results. So this is great for going into production. While you're in development, using this tool to hook up your queries is definitely recommended. Last but not least, when it comes to images, images really play a very important role when we look at Core Web Vitals. So the GraphQL part is great for delivering the non-binary content in an efficient manner. But for the images, we really need to have something additional in place. And again, we're banking on OpenAPI. You see another playground here, which is all about delivering assets in a optimized format. So in this playground, you'll be able to get different renditions for delivery for your for images like the height and quality and size, etc. But what I really want to point out is the format that you can also choose, in particular WebP as a format, which is right now the gold standard for very optimized image delivery, which should give you great Core Web Vitals, so at least help with that. There's more about this in an upcoming session, which I highly recommend to check out later today. Now, putting all of this together, we talked about APIs, we talked about SDKs, we talked about events, but in the end, what matters is how quickly can you as a developer get started and actually get something up and running. And what we're really pushing towards is to help you get started in minutes. Now, we're so confident that we can achieve that we're actually going to walk through setting up a new application right from scratch. So here we are on the command line. We're using the AIO command line tool. It's based on the Adobe App Builder framework. And we're creating a new SPA application. It asks us which organization, which IMS organization we're in, and pulls our projects from the developer console. And then we get presented with a list of templates. Those templates are pulled from the new template registry. I'll talk about that in a second, but now choosing the SPA template, that's basically all we need to do. And after the npm install, which is triggered automatically, if we hit VS Code, as you can see here, we got a React application already set up, which is wired into AEM in the backend, AEM headless. So it's pulling the content via our GraphQL client, AEM headless client, which is already in the package.json. So that's all we had to do to create the app. Now within VS Code, pulling up the terminal, we're able to just run it because actually, obviously, we want to see the app. So again, using the App Builder framework that starts up a web server locally and allows us to head to localhost. Let me refresh there, and boom. There's our React app up and running. It pulls the adventure content from AEM headless. It gives us a little bit of filtering there. And in order to show you that this is actually real, I'm heading over to the content fragment editor, changing one of those content fragments, and going back and reloading the React app. Of course, you can see that this content is pulled from a content fragment is in AEM headless is there and changed. Now, before we move on to other topics, I really want to give a shout out to our AEM headless client. It's all on GitHub, and everything we do here is open source. You'll find all the tools and SDKs on GitHub as well. So check that out. And also the template registry is also based on purely NPM and GitHub. So feel free to move over to the template registry, check it out, look at those templates, and submit a pull request or even a brand new template if you wish. That's very welcome. Now, to get started even quicker than that, I mean, that was pretty quick, I would say. But if you just want to dabble with AEM headless and some SPA technologies, there's a code playground that we just launched, which allows you to build apps using AEM headless right in your browser. So there's versions for React, for Next.js, and a couple of others. So please head over there, give it a try. It's a really fun way to find your way around with AEM Headless and get started. There's more in upcoming sessions, specifically to Next.js and building your first React app, done by my colleagues a bit later in the day. The last topic that I want to talk about when it comes to development is UI extensibility. And what is meant with that? We find that many of our enterprise customers or larger customers have needs or requirements for managing content that are very particular to their specific needs. So, for example, when it comes to the rich text editor that we looked at earlier, an enterprise might want to have a special widget that allows the practitioner to select a product from a product management system, or they would want a special button in the toolbar that does something that matters to them in these specific enterprise workflows. So you might know this type of capability that we had in AEM traditionally for quite a while. But what we did here is to really completely reimagine the way this works and have it be done on front-end technology only. So this is about NPM, this is about React, this is about Node.js. It's all pulled together by the Adobe App Builder framework, but there's no Java or anything of that sort in this technology stack. So really you can use your front-end developer knowledge and skills only to build extensions into the product UI. And the nice thing is that those extensions will blend really nicely with the product UI, because we are making available the Adobe Spectrum design language and components in that design language as open source to you. That has been there for a while. So if you implement extensions in our new content fragment management UIs, they will look and feel like the product itself. As an example, what you can see here, there's a button added to the toolbar. So that will be an extension. And of course, there's the capability to take over parts of the screen, like this dialog that would pop up if the button gets pressed. And within that dialog, of course, you're totally free to draw whatever makes sense for your extension or your requirements. Last thing I want to point out, if you want to get started with building such an extension yourself, again, this is wired up or hooked up into the extension, the template registry. So you get a template to create those extensions, and those will provide the boilerplate code for you, like how to set up the extension registration and the action bar. So basically, your job will be to fill in the business-specific details, but you get a lot of the boilerplate for free right away from the template. And later today, there's a session by my colleagues Max and Volodymyr, who will show this live to you and demonstrate everything there is to know about UI extensibility. Moving on to an application. Let's talk about headless forms. And you really might wonder, headless forms, what is that supposed to be? A form is head full, right? Well, what we're doing here, and we're really excited about it, is to allow form definitions be served as JSON in a channel agnostic way. So those forms can be shown in any application and really be in any front-end technology wherever is needed, while still having the same backend logic, the same validation rules, etc. And that really greatly enhances the flexibility for developers, because they won't have to deal with the form definition. They will just consume the JSON and build the UI in the front-end channel, whatever is useful.
So headless forms, what you're getting is the form editor and in a visual editing capability that lets your business users define the forms and the validation rules, etc. But this is exposed as a JSON that can be consumed in multiple front ends or multiple applications. So let me show you what this could look like. So here's a loan application form, which is powered by this headless forms capability in the backend, and nothing too special. But what is interesting is that you can take the same headless form definition and run a React native application from that, or even run your form application within WhatsApp. So depending on what makes sense for your business requirements, you have different front ends, but the same backend logic, the same value restrictions, and so on. So this is very powerful to get your business processes into different front ends and free up your front-end developers or experienced developers to do whatever makes sense in that particular channel. If you want to learn more about that, again, here's an upcoming session for you to dive deeper into that capability. Now, we started with a practitioner earlier today, and what I really want to do is come back to the content management capabilities in AEM Headless. So if you remember that, of course, content in headless applications is typically structured content. So we talked a lot about content fragment models and so on. What if there was an alternative way to manage structured content? And let me show you a demo first and do the unusual thing and tell you afterwards why we're looking at that. So this is a Google Sheet. It's a absolutely regular Google Sheet. Any in the world probably would be able to edit. Nothing special here, but there's a little browser plugin that we created which allows the practitioner, first of all, to preview the sheet here, but more interestingly, publish that sheet as JSON. So, so you get a stable JSON URL, and of course, what I can do again, as in the practitioner view, is do whatever I want to do with those sheets. For example, add a new column, and let me fill out this column with some ID, randomly created IDs. Hit publish again, and just do that. So I'm getting the new view. If I push reload, it will refresh, and I'm seeing the new sheet with the new ID column at the beginning. But more importantly, of course, I also get that new ID in the JSON that is created. So why is this interesting? Well, it's structured content, and it lives in a place where the practitioners feel right at home already. So it allows you to have people take part in your content management that have no need for trainings. They already know content, and it basically picks them up already where they are. So this is we are having this capability for Google Sheets and Microsoft Office Excel. Now, the interesting thing is, because this is published as JSON, it can easily be consumed in any SPA or mobile application. Your developers don't need to know anything about Excel, they just consume the JSON. And as you saw, as I put in this new column in that sheet, this type of managing structured content has an interesting property because it allows you to put in content first without having to deeply think about content models, content structure. You don't need an upfront definition, and it's very simple to evolve because you just, as you saw, you put in a new column and evolve the model like that. So for particular applications or for democratizing the way your practitioners can contribute content to your apps, I think we think this is a great alternative for particular use cases. Now, last thing I want to talk about, a thing that we call Universal Editor. AEM has always been strong in enabling the practitioners to edit content within context, so within the page or the experience that your visitors actually get to see. And we had a we do have a capability in AEM called the SPA editor, but what we did is take a really big step back and rethought the way how editing should work in a headless world. And this is what we're calling the Universal Editor. And the requirements, the way we think about this is that this editor should work with any implementation, whether you're doing client-side rendering or server-side rendering, any framework, Svelte, Vue, React, Angular, it does not matter, or even any hosting, be it AEM or some other CDN provider, it does not matter. Second, it should work on any content, any type of content. Of course, AEM page structures and AEM content fragments are top of mind, but also document formats like Word and Excel, like we just looked at, come in, and it should be open for other persistence plugins to really be independent of the storage. And last but not least, the editor or the practitioner should be able to edit any type of, any aspect of the experience, like the layout or style. Now, what does this look like? So we're again looking at a React-based SPA, but I really want to point out the URL. It is hosted somewhere in the internet. So it's not Adobe, not AEM Cloud Service. It's a random web server. And it's a React-based app, like similar to the one we looked at earlier, that pulls content from AEM headless to display those adventures. So putting this URL into our new universal editor capability, of course, you get to see a preview. No surprise there. But what you also get are these editing controls that you can enable. So let me do that right there, and I'm going to go into components edit mode, which gives me the capability to select all the editable parts in that React application. And you see, it shows me what type of content is editable in there. By the way, as a side note, there's also presence. So if there's other practitioners on that page, I will see it, and I will see the fragments, the pieces that they are on. But as you probably expect, I can, well, just basically click right in my React app and edit content right there and have it be persisted back into AEM as a content fragment. Well, does this really work with everything? So let me show you another example just to prove out the way this is structured. So this is an HTML page, and it's hosted on GitHub. It's a GitHub page. So nothing special about this, but pulling this URL into the universal editor, again, I get those edit controls. So I can edit right in the editor, of course. Hit return, this gets saved. And so what's going to happen when I save this is, of course, dependent on the backend. And in this case, it's doing the right thing. So it is hitting GitHub and producing a pull request that can be merged in some editorial flow. So this is really a universal way to work with SPAs or any web experience, really. And just to give you a little bit of an idea what this looks like, what you have to do to enable the editor is to put in some microdata format. So your HTML needs to have some attributes that describe your particular items, like this is a list, this is an image, etc., and where the backend is located. But that's it. There's no special SDK or some specific way you need to structure your application. You just go ahead and add those couple of data attributes and make your experiences editable in AEM, no matter how they're hosted or created. And with that, I'm passing the mic back to my dear colleague, Cedric.
Thank you. Wow. Hopefully that you just love the universal editor. I think that one, yeah, it took us a while to figure this out. I know some comments were in the Slack was like, oh, is that a single page app editor? It's, you think we had to kind of go and develop the single page app editor first, and then we figured out, hey, you know what? We could make that even more, if I think of generic or abstracted from, in this case now, the content source and the actual surface, the digital surface where it's on. All right, so very much looking forward for getting you folks this to play with. We're expecting that at the beginning of the next year, we will be able to do the first project later. Okay, so we need to talk. So that was all the fun about trouble. Okay, we need to talk. We need to talk about web performance. So how do you read this chart? This is over, I don't know, a little bit more. The graph shows a blue line, which is the percentage of websites, the Chrome User Experience Report. that have good Lighthouse scores. Sorry, not Lighthouse scores. Good core web vitals for LCP Contentful Paint. And the lighter blue line, I know they're both blue, but the teal color, there is all sites running AEM. How are we doing? Not good. Okay, so we need to do better. We need to do a lot better. Okay, so again, we're kind of data driven here. We're looking at data. We're looking at how things are going. Making it fast is team sport, right? It's not just one person who messed it up, right? Whatever. It's a lot of factors that play into making the site fast for all visitors globally. And so we thought really deeply about that, and we said we need to change something here. We want to tell about the timeline. A year or two from now, we want this. We want to, this needs to look significantly different. We want to be, outperforming other implementations or other CMSs. So you ask yourself, well, okay, it's fine. I mean, the websites are, usually fast. So it's fast on my computer. So let's look a little bit deeper into why this is important. So another graph here, which is pretty interesting. The sources are at the bottom of the slide. So if you about that, but just generally, web performance has kind of two. You can track, again, there's lots of things that are influencing it, but one thing is the conversion rate or whatever the goal is of the site, right? And then the correlation with people kind of like giving up or not, trying to get on the site and then not being able to actually do what they want to do. It has to do with stability. It has to do with low performance, just the website to work. Like mobile, it's tricky. So this chart is actually from a case study that is public. What I did is I did this green arrow on top of it. That's my own addition. That's kind of like the ideal place. That's where you want to be. So let's look at that. So having an LCP, again, back to the largest contentful paint, which is the core web vital for when the website is in a state where the visitor kind of like can really start to not interact, but just, oh, all right, so I'm on a website because where I want to go next or what I want to do here, right? So, and so that's the critical metric. Okay, so getting into a largest contentful paint below 2 seconds is really ideal. Now, again, you can go to your own site and you could probably see that that this is probably quite tricky to achieve. And the quotes on the side are some numbers just to prove the point. There's case studies out there that are reporting that if you do manage to get your site quicker, it has an actual business result. So for us, it's fair to assume that if we help to make this the web faster, we can achieve something. So let's look at an example here. And so what we would love to achieve, and one to the other, but if you think of the existing side here, that's probably pretty representative of what folks. And then what happens if you really try to optimize that and tune that, right? And below is actually the monthly graph that shows how the site, like once after you do the optimization, what kind of optimization you can do. So I'll leave you with here is go back to your own sites, see you can improve. And again, there's lots of best practices out there, generally how to improve sites, right? So learn about that. The other thing is, and we're going to have a session actually about this later today, which you can go into. What we certainly also have learned, and we're going to talk about this quite a bit in next year. So you're going to hear us in 2023 really talking about this a lot more. What does it really take to build a site that, yes, you get to that Lighthouse score mobile, and you also get, this is the lab data, right? That's one thing, but also achieving 96% of visitors getting an LCP below 1.5 seconds, right? So that's the real world data, right? So, but in order to achieve that real world data, you need to basically have that Lighthouse score. That I know some people do, but we've seen a clear correlation. If you do have that 100, or you achieve that 96% RUM data, like real user metrics data. And so, yeah, you can hear us talking about quite a bit about this. We're serious, and we want to really help you folks out. So, but first thing first, let's go look at your existing sites. We got a great session coming. We give you some tips and tricks of what you can do pretty quickly, basically today or tomorrow. And so, yeah, having said that, that concludes the keynote. Thank you very much for joining. I know we got hiccups there. So thank you for joining. We will be back. I'll be back later today. Things up. Thank you, Michael, for presenting earlier. Thank you, folks, for all the questions you asked during the keynote. That's awesome. Thank you very much. So we'll go do a little video as next, and then we're going to go straight into our Rockstar session. So see you there. Thank you.